Is there any other way of doing the 5 prayers if you're not able to do them at home because of your family? Is there any other substitute way?
You have to do the 5 prayers in the same way, by standing and doing ruku', doing sujood in the home. I mean, if your family is harassing you, then you have to leave them. If the only way for prayer, you have to pray 5 prayers a day in just the normal way, covering yourself as much as you can. I mean, if there is when a woman is alone and she is praying, not in the mosque, she is not going to the mosque, there is no clear proof, there is no proof that she has to wear hijab. The hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا بَنِي آدَمَ أَخُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ عِنْدَ كُلِّ مَسْجِدٍ. O children of Adam, take your beauty next to every mosque. Beauty is wearing clothes. Now there is hadith from Qatada, and this hadith is weak. Is weak not because when I take hadith, I look at the hadith very carefully. Sometimes I take hadith just the strong hadith, not something that has. But still, in this instance here, this hadith is weak according to many muhaddithin, that says that Allah will not accept the prayer of a woman who has reached the age of menses except with khimar. And actually, even from the madahib, there are some people who don't say that a woman can pray without full hijab. So there is no clear hadith that says if she prays in the mosque, yes, she definitely has to wear hijab, full hijab, khimar and jilbab. Outside of the mosque, there is no such proof that
she doesn't have to wear a jalbiya if she's at home.
She is at
can
home.
Wear like a short top.
If she just wear normal clothes, it depends on her.
How she dresses at home.
Yes, so she can pray that way. There is no proof really about that, and it's not even ijma'. It's not like everybody agrees that she has to wear the full hijab, and there is no agreement about this. So as for the other conditions, she has to do wudu. There is no way that she can do wudu. She has to stand up facing the qibla. She has to recite the Quran. She has as long as there is no fear for her life, a danger for her life. Now, if there is a danger, they might kill her or something, then she has to try to leave to save her religion as soon as possible from that place. In the meantime, if there is fear that they can harm her, she can pray just by movements, but just because they might cut off her allowances or don't give her money or throw her out when she can get another place, then there is no other way. She has to pray in time, 5 prayers. Combining prayers is haram. Combining prayer is haram, totally haram. Combining prayer is you have to pray. You can combine prayer in only one way. Delaying dhuhr. Today, for example, Asr will be at around 5 o'clock. So combining prayer can be this way. You delay dhuhr until 10 to 5. So you will be still praying in time. So you pray dhuhr. By the time you finish dhuhr, it is Asr. You pray Asr. Then you delay Maghrib. Today, Isha will be around 10:30. Or 10:35 today, actually. So you delay Maghrib until 10:25. Takes you probably 10 minutes to finish, or depends on your prayer. If it takes you 5 minutes, you delay it until 10:30. You pray, you finish Maghrib, then you pray Isha. That is how you delay. You combine prayers. You don't combine prayers by delaying Fajr until Dhuhr or Dhuhr until the time of Asr has started. There is hadith from Abi Qatada where the Prophet said it is not a sin it is not neglect. It's not neglect that you don't pray while you are asleep, but it is a neglect that you delay prayer while you are awake until the next prayer start. So delaying one prayer until the next prayer start, that is considered neglecting. Neglecting prayer is haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Those who neglect their prayer. حافظوا على الصلوات. Protect your salawat. Keep them, pray them in time. Praying in time is an obligation. Praying out of time is just fasting out of time, like doing Hajj out of time. You have to pray in time. Without excuse, it is forbidden to pray in time.
Traveler is allowed to.
No, traveler is not allowed to combine the prayers. There is nothing to show that the Prophet has made clearly what is the time of the prayer. He said, Salatul Dhuhri idha zalat al-shams. The Salat of Dhuhr, when the sun is in the middle of the sky, as long as Asr had not started. He did not say that while he was, we don't know if he said it while he was a resident or while he was traveling, even though there is some hadith that suggests that Jibril came when he was a resident. However, when he said it, he did not mention any traveler or resident. He said this is the time of Dhuhr, this is the time of Asr. And if we look at the hadith that I just mentioned from Abi Qatada, which is in Muslim, that it is not a sin to neglect prayer. It is not a sin to neglect prayer while you are asleep, but it is a sin to neglect prayer while you are awake until the time of other prayer start. The Prophet said this hadith here when he was traveling. He was traveling and he overslept with the Sahaba. So they woke up late. They prayed when the sun was in the middle of the sky. So they didn't pray Fajr in time. The Sahaba were so upset. So he told them this. Where did he say it? He said it while he was traveling, that it is a sin to delay one prayer until the other prayer start. The hadith from Ibn Abbas, from Anas ibn Malik, from Ibn Umar, that the Prophet used to combine prayers while traveling, those hadith are not the hadith of from Anas. It might look like the Prophet used to delay Dhuhr until Asr. Now there is probability. Delaying how? Delaying it and pray it at the last time, at the last minute, or delaying it and praying it with time of Asr. It's probabilities. Also the hadith of Ibn Abbas that the Prophet gathered two prayers in Medina without fear, without rain. Medina, of course, without trouble because he is in Medina. This hadith also is probably he delayed it until Asr, probably before Asr, just in time at the last minute. So this is probabilities. We don't take the clear evidence for probabilities. The clear evidence say that Asr has time, Dhuhr has time, and this hadith here, actually, many people have made this suggestion, especially the sub-narrator of this hadith of Ibn Abbas, Ayyub Sikhtiyani, and Hamad ibn Zayd, thought that actually it was just what we call Jama' Suri, delaying the prayer to the last minute and praying Asr at the beginning of the time. But if we say, okay, let's say that Ibn Abbas actually have said that delaying prayer, Dhuhr prayer, until Asr start. Ibn Abbas says that when the Prophet died, he was 10. That is the hadith in Bukhari. Is it possible for someone who is 10 to be able to understand the timing in a perfect way, that to make that small difference, just the last minute of Asr and the last minute Dhuhr? Is it possible to understand that? No, it's not possible. Ibn Umar, who was a man in the time of the Prophet, and he is a companion of the Prophet, and he spent a long time, almost from Khandaq onwards, he was with the Prophet in every travel. He explained how the Prophet used to delay prayer. Now there is hadith in Bukhari. This hadith has in Bukhari, in Muslim, but it is explained more in details in the Sunan of Bayhaqi. it explains how the Prophet used to delay prayer. Now this hadith says that Abdullah bin Umar was called because Safiya bint Ubayd, his wife, was dying. He was in Mecca. He was told that his wife is dying in Medina. So he tried to reach her before she dies. So he's traveling. When Maghrib started, people told him to stop to pray. He said no. So he continued. Just before, this is what sub-narrator says, just before Isha, before the dusk is gone completely. So the Maghrib time is still there. So he stopped, he prayed Maghrib. And then he continued, then he waited a little bit until Isha started. And then he prayed Isha and continued his journey. That is clarify how the Prophet, and he said, this is how I saw the Prophet doing. What I saw the Prophet doing when he is in hurry, when he is traveling and he is in hurry. So he will combine the prayers, but every prayer in its time. Delaying prayer to another prayer is a big sin. There is no proof for that from the Quran and Sunnah. There is hadith in Bukhari also that Ibn Mas'ud, this hadith in the book of Hajj in Bukhari, that Ibn Mas'ud prayed with the Prophet in Muzdalifah, in Hajj. He said he prayed early, Fajr, and then he said, Ibn Mas'ud says that the Prophet said, it's either the saying of Ibn Mas'ud or the Prophet. In Hadith Bukhari it says that it is the saying of the Prophet. He said that the prayer has been changed and moved from its place in here. So in Hajj, in Arafah, in Muzdalifah, it's different. You can't delay prayer, you can bring forward the prayer. It is actually better to bring forward the prayer because that is part of the rituals of Hajj, not in normal days. So Ibn Mas'ud, he says in this hadith that it was specific in this day that the prayer has been moved from its place. And Ibn Mas'ud was for the Prophet since Badr. He came, he was with the Prophet from Badr onward. He was with him in every travel, in every battle that the Prophet went for. Delaying prayer out of time, praying out of time is haram, except if you have forgotten, if you are asleep, if someone is feeling very sleepy, someone is feel that he is very, like someone wake up to pray but he is still drowsy, can't understand what's going on around him. In this case it's haram to pray. The Prophet said, إِذَا نَعَسَ أَحَدُكُمْ فِي الصَّلَاةِ, if someone is feeling sleepy during the prayer, he should go and sleep, because he might go and ask Allah for forgiveness, and then he will insult himself. When someone is asleep, he is intoxicated. If you put someone to sleep and they wake him up after a long time, people depends on the people. Some people are light sleepers, some people heavy sleepers. So if you wake him up, he will not know, he will say things or do things that normally he will not do. And that is what is intoxication. What we call intoxication. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la taqrabu as-salata wa antum sukara, O you who believe, don't approach the prayer while in state of intoxication, hatta ta'lamu ma taqulun, until you know what you are saying. If someone has taken drugs or taken alcohol, which is haram, but if they have taken it, then they can't pray until they come back to their senses and they know what they are doing. So for these people the time is extended. For other people, it is forbidden to. They are doing haram, yes, but it's extended because Allah wants to extend it. We can't. But for other people, it is forbidden to delay the prayer without excuse.
Can a traveler shorten the prayer then?
Shortening the prayer, yes. Shortening the prayer is something, and delaying prayer out of time is something different.
No, I was talking about combining as well.
How about it rain? Whether you could
No.
combine.
You don't combine the prayer in rain. You can combine the prayer every day. Every single day you can combine the prayer. Delaying Dhuhr until the last minute and praying Asr at the beginning of the time. But combining in the sense of praying Dhuhr and Asr or bringing Asr forward and praying it with Dhuhr, that is forbidden in every case except when you are in Hajj.
If there's no specific reason for you to delay it, like you have to delay it, can't you just pray it at the appointed time?
Praying at
The time that's
No, the time that is specified is specified. Like today, Dhuhr, the Prophet said from midday, from Zawal. Zawal is not really midday. I don't know the word exactly. When the sky is in the middle of when the sun is in the middle of the sky, that is what we call the midday, and then when. Okay, whatever. Yeah. So that is the Zawal. So until the shadow of the object is equal to the object. Until then, it's Asr. You can pray within this time. It is better to pray at the beginning. Dhuhr is better to pray it at the beginning, because the Prophet says, لو يعلمون ما في التهجير. If people knew what is in tahjir, going early to the mosque, then they will race to it. But delaying the prayer within this time is halal, is fine. الصلاة لأول وقتها. The hadith that says, for example, the hadith of Ibn Mas'ud in Bukhari, أي الأعمال خير. The Prophet was asked, what is best deeds? He said, إيمان بالله. Or the hadith of Ibn Mas'ud say, الصلاة لوقتها. The prayer in time. That is what he said. Prayer in time. Prayer in time doesn't mean prayer at the beginning of the time. Those who say the beginning of the time, it's mistake. It's narrated by two weak people who said أول وقتها. It is considered weak by many, including Nawawi. He said this word is invalid. It is so. The praying within the time. Someone who lives next to the mosque, a man who lives next to the mosque, it is an obligation for a man to go to the mosque and pray Jama'ah. So he doesn't have the choice to delay it. He has to go to the mosque and pray with the Jama'ah. But a woman doesn't have to go to the mosque, because there is no proof that a woman has to. Salatul Jama'ah is for man. Mosque, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه. Mosques are for houses that Allah has permitted to be raised and His name to be glorified in it. يسبح له فيها بالغدو والأصال رجال. So in this mosque is men that glorify Allah. A woman want to go there, doesn't matter. It's not a sin. It's fine. But they don't have to go to the mosque. Since they don't have to go to the mosque and pray in Jama'ah, so they have this time. They can pray anytime. And also a man who has excuse and he doesn't, or he is far from the mosque, he can't hear the adhan, for example, or he doesn't have to attend the Jama'ah for other excuses, he can delay the time. He can pray anytime, at the beginning, at the end. It doesn't matter.
What about the time for Isha?
Yes.
Does it stop at midnight if they go on until...
No, the time of Isha stops at midnight. This is clear hadith from Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As in Muslim. The hadith of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, that the Prophet said, Salatul Isha, إذا غاب الشفق, when the dusk is gone, إلى منتصف الليل, to the middle of the night. That is hadith of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. And then you find in Muslim the hadith of Buraidah ibn al-Hasib and Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, where the Prophet, a man came and asked the Prophet about the timing of the prayer. So at the beginning he prayed at the very early, and then second day he prayed, according to the narrator, he said like the third of the night. Now this, it is tricky when the man described the timing, because I mean, no matter how good you are, you can't really know at the time, at night, oh, this is midnight, or this is the last third, or this is, you can just guess. So, but the Prophet has made it clear. The speech of the Prophet is the one that clarifies everything. He said to the midnight. The Isha is to midnight. Those who said you can delay Isha until Fajr, they have used this hadith that says it is a sin to delay one prayer until the other prayer start. That's what we call in usul fiqh mafhum mukhalafa, the understanding of the opposite. Like if Allah says something, we understand. You see, when Allah says don't kill your children out of fear of poverty, does it mean that kill your children for other reasons? It doesn't mean that. So don't kill your children out of fear of poverty. It's haram to kill them for this reason. For other reasons, it is haram to kill them because Allah says don't kill the soul that Allah has forbidden. When Allah says إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا. The number of months to Allah, according to Allah book, is 12 months. Amongst them there is 4 that are sacred months. Don't wrong yourself within this sacred months. Does it mean in the other 8 months you can wrong yourself? It just shows that it is even a bigger sin to wrong yourself in these 4 months. So when the Prophet says it is not a sin, it is a sin to delay one prayer until the other prayer start, it doesn't mean if you delay it until before the other prayer start is fine. He didn't say that. He just said if you delay to the other prayer start, it's a sin. But we don't take the opposite of the understanding. We don't say what he didn't say. He said that, you don't say, oh, it means he didn't say you can delay one prayer just before the other prayer. Can you delay Fajr just before Dhuhr? So that is their proof. They can use it as well and say Dhuhr, Fajr can be delayed until Dhuhr. They can say, and Maghrib, Asr can delay just before Maghrib. But they say this is haram. So that is haram as well. Why? Why it is haram? Because the Prophet said that Fajr is until sunrise. Why it's haram to delay Isha until Fajr? Because the Prophet said the Isha is until midnight. You will find this in the book of Muslim, in the book of timing, prayer time. So you should not delay Isha until these days. For example, we have problem. According to some people, I don't know if this is true or not, but the people who live in the UK, they say you can't see Isha time. So you can't see, the dusk doesn't go at all. So there is no beginning of Isha. Now if what they say is true, then they still say that we can, Maghrib definitely we can see sunset. So we know the beginning of the night. And they still say we can see Fajr. So we can know the end of the night. Take Maghrib until Fajr, divide it by 2. And that is the midnight. So we have to pray Isha before then. And any time after Maghrib, because nobody is allowed to make like limits from his head. So it will be Isha, definitely you can't pray it before Maghrib. The Prophet referred to Isha as the last Isha. Maghrib the first Isha, and so it has to be after Maghrib definitely by this hadith, and it has to be before midnight by the hadith that says until Isha is until midnight.
Can you go through like the importance of like covering and wearing hijab as a Muslim, and like if you don't do it, what's the consequences and all that?
There is no consequences really. We don't have to lie about Allah. Wearing hijab is an obligation. Not wearing hijab is haram. There is nothing in the religion that is something is more important than other things, except where Allah says this is more important than other things. There are many people who exaggerate things. I don't say obeying Allah is exaggeration. You have to obey Allah, but you are not supposed to come to something and say, oh, this is more important than this. It is haram to backbite. People will do it. I mean, this is something that you will go to a mosque where you find a woman sitting backbiting all day and then they will insist on the hijab. Well, wearing hijab is very important, but it is as important as not backbiting and lying and talking about making namima between people and having double faces. All these are haram. But some people, it depends on the culture, they will make something, it's very big, like, oh, this is like some people, like this is the problem with the groups. They will take something from the religion and making like their, what we call it, they will make it like their symbols. How do you know a Salafi is a Salafi woman is a woman who wear hijab? It doesn't matter what she does after that. Wear hijab and niqab, and lying, backbiting doesn't. How do you know, for example, a Salafi man is someone who has his trousers to the middle of the leg, and has siwak, and he wear qamis, and he has a beard. It's very important. Huh? But backbiting, lying about Allah, making things haram without proof, all these are unimportant. Are not that important. There is no such thing in the religion. Religion is what Allah has forbidden is haram. And you can't say, oh, this is something that it's fine for me. I see someone backbiting is fine. I can deal with it. I can understand it. But if he, for example, this man or this person has no beard, or this woman is not wearing hijab, then it's a big deal or something. It is a big deal always when you disobey Allah. When you want to explain to someone Islam, you explain to him the Islam. You see something haram, you tell him this is haram. But there is not specific thing. Oh, my son or my daughter can be friend with someone who has wearing hijab. Doesn't matter what they do after that. They wear hijab, they don't listen to music, and that is the important thing. It doesn't matter what they do after that. No, it's not like that. It's everything that Allah has forbidden is haram, equally haram, and there is nobody has the right to make something more important than another thing.
You say it's haram to know with the hijab, but it's okay to take it step by step.
No, nobody can give you that. There is nothing in the religion step by step. There is something that you have to know. If a woman doesn't wear hijab, it's haram. If a woman doesn't pray, it's haram. If a woman doesn't fast, it's haram. It's very important when you are not doing something which is haram, to know that you are guilty. That is the essence of Islam. If you choose not, if someone become a Muslim today and come to me and say, okay, explain to me Islam. I will explain to him Islam fully. I will tell him everything that is haram. I will have to tell him anything that I can see that he has to change, or the woman, anything. I will tell her about hijab, because I can see that when she comes, that she is not wearing hijab. I have to tell her that this is an obligation. And then I will have to explain to her as well that if she doesn't wear hijab, she is still a Muslim. And there is a way that Allah might forgive her. If she rejects the hijab, then she is not a Muslim. That is how I don't bring people to Islam and by me getting out of Islam. Because many people try to help others and they get out of Islam. They will, this woman came to Islam, now she is married to a kafir, she is not wear hijab. If we start telling her everything which is haram, then she might not be, she lose interest in Islam. So what we do, we start lying about Allah, making for the people, it's fine, you don't have to wear hijab, you don't have to walk away from your husband because he's not your husband anymore. So we don't tell her all these things just because to bring her to Islam. We get out of Islam. And that is not something that someone should do. You tell the person that, okay, Allah is the most forgiving. He forgives sins. It is so. You explain to the person what he is losing by disobeying Allah, by not applying what Allah has ordered him. But you explain to him that this is still, there is a possibility that Allah might forgive what they are doing. But if they reject anything from the religion, that is something that Allah will not forgive. So this is how you, nobody can give you the permission. Nobody, I can't give you that permission because I am not God. I am not someone who makes legislations. I can tell you what Quran says, and the Quran doesn't say take it step by step. The Quran say, I will tell you, say La ilaha illallah. If you say La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, then you have to pray. Provided the time of prayer has started, then you have to pray. that first day. And then when Ramadan starts, then you have to fast. Doesn't matter. If you that day, the day of Ramadan, in the day of Ramadan, you became a Muslim in the middle of the day, it will be forbidden for you, haram for you that day, provided there is nothing to stop you from fasting. It will be haram for you not to fast that day. You will have to complete that day, the half from the middle of that day until Maghrib. You have to stop eating and drinking and stop anything which makes your fasting invalid. So there is nothing such thing as taking the religion step by step.
What if you do want to cover up, you do want to wear the hijab?
Yeah.
Under your circumstances, you're not able to for the moment.
Yeah, I tell you, you are not able to. It depends. Is it something that is, if you wear hijab, it will be a danger for your life? Then save your life. It's fine. Don't wear hijab, because maybe a woman is in the middle of a country where, not England definitely, so a place where if she wear hijab, they might harm her.
Like France or something?
Not really. I am not France. I don't say France. No.
If they ban you?
No, they ban you. That is not excuse. They don't ban you because you are wearing hijab in France. That is not. In France, they will not give you a job. It's not necessary to have a job, because they will anyway. They will give you money. I'm saying in the 9/11, in that day in New York, a woman has to go out with the fear in that day. No law, no order. People might attack her. She need to go out. There is a great danger for her life if she goes with hijab. With the people, what happened to them, they might, or another country which is lawless, where there is no, everybody can attack someone. So that is a danger. I don't think in England there is, and that will be just temporary, to take the hijab off temporary while you are trying to leave that country, because a country or place where you can't worship Allah fully, you have to leave it. Not to say there is excuses. What kind of, if it's not danger to your life, then there is no excuse whatsoever. However, you don't do hijab, you have to accept. If someone is not doing hijab, you are still a Muslim. You will ask Allah to, Muslims should deal with you in a manner that is just the way they deal with Muslims. A woman who is not wearing hijab, but she accepts that she is wrong by not wearing hijab, she accepts that wearing hijab is an obligation, then she is a Muslim. Doesn't matter. So it's not. She is not different from another woman who is lying or stealing, or so we can't just say, oh, not wearing hijab, this woman I can't accept her on my house, or on that basis. You have the choice who to let in to your house or not, but to say, oh, I can't associate with a woman who is not wearing hijab, I don't answer her salam, I don't give her rights as a Muslim, no, that is wrong. That is the madhab of some people who pick and choose from the religion.
What advice can be given to a sister who's just embraced Islam and she's afraid of her parents because they're going to cut her off, and that's why she's fearing covering?
Yeah, she has to just to be taught that Allah is the provider. If she is afraid that they might not give her money, anything that you leave for Allah, Allah will take care about it. I mean, if you do something, don't do it just for the sake to please the woman that you are with. If you do it for that reason, you will get nothing. But if you really, with conviction, like you know that Allah, you believe in Allah, and Allah is able to do anything for you. If you do it with that way, definitely Allah will make a way for you. You still have to have connection with your parents, to be good to your parents, but you don't have to obey your parents in disobeying Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ لِتُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. If they strive in to make shirk or to associate with me things that you don't know, then don't obey them. وَإِمَّا تُعْرِضَنَّ عَنْهُمْ ابْتِغَاءَ رَحْمَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكَ تَرْجُوهَا فَقُلْ لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَيْسُورًا. If you turn away from them, seeking the mercy of your Lord, then tell them good words. Talk to them in a good manner. So you talk to your parents in good manners, you be nice to them, but you don't obey them. And Allah is able to make them make them like being good to you. Or if you are, what you are afraid is to lose your house or the allowances that they give you, Allah can provide for you. I mean, that is not an excuse for a woman not to wear hijab. But if she does choose, or she is weak and she chooses that way, then she is still a woman, Muslim woman. So a Muslim woman, she is still a Muslim woman. I don't mean to insult here. And therefore there is nothing. You just have to keep talking to her, and one day, inshallah, she will wear the hijab. There is one thing here that I have noticed. Then a woman, when she wears this, well, I don't know what they call it, the red thing on the, that will invalidate the prayer. When she does wudhu, she has to take it off. If it's henna, for example, it has no physical body. Like henna, you can't take it, you can't touch it. It's just a color. But something like that you can move, it stops water from getting to the skin, so that has to be taken when at the time of prayer.
So,
at least.
Say someone wants to convert to Islam, but like they know that they can't accept wearing hijab and all that. Does that mean?
No, they will have to accept wearing hijab, but they might not want to do it. They have to accept that hijab is an obligation, and they have to accept that they are wrong. Okay. By not accepting this, they are not Muslim.
So if they choose not to do it.
But they choosing not to do it, that will not make them a kafir.
So they're still Muslim?
Yes. You see the difference between Islam and kufr is this. You see, Allah ordered Adam to do something. He ordered Iblis to do something, isn't it? He ordered Adam not to eat from the tree, and he ordered Iblis to prostrate to Adam. Adam did eat from the tree. That is disobedience. Allah clearly says in the Quran, وَعَصَى آدَمُ رَبَّهُ فَغَوَى. Adam disobeyed his Lord. So that is disobedience, it's haram. As for Iblis, he disobeyed his Lord as well. He told him prostrate, he did not prostrate. What is the difference between them? The difference between them is Adam is Muslim, Iblis is kafir. Why? Adam did what he did, knowing that what he has done is wrong. He accepted his fault. He accepted that he is guilty. What he is doing is wrong. Iblis did not accept that. Iblis argued. Iblis refused to recognize his guilt, and that what he is doing is, he was arguing that is kibr, that is arrogance, that is rebelling against the order of Allah. Not Adam accepted it, did not apply it. That is Islam. Not the best Islam, but still he is Muslim. The best Islam is to accept it and apply it. Iblis rejected it. So if we tell someone, pray, if he say, it is an obligation to pray, I am wrong by not praying, that is a person who is a Muslim. A person who say, why should I pray? After he knew that Allah ordered him to pray, why should I pray?
So he should reject it.
That is the kufr. Actually, that is generally that is what is the kufr. The kufr is not to prostrate to someone. If someone prostrate to someone else, it's not kufr. Because if it was kufr, Allah would not have ordered Adam, Iblis, to prostrate to. He did not order him to worship him. He just ordered him to prostrate to him. So if someone prostrate to someone, that is not kufr by itself. just the prostration. What is kufr is that Allah said do something and you argue about it. You know that Allah said it first. And if someone, for example, we say to someone, you have to wear hijab. And she says, no, I don't have to wear hijab. I know a sheikh who told me, who read Quran and Sunnah, and he told me I don't have to. Now she is not kafir here, because she thinks that Allah did not order her. She doesn't trust you. It's not that she is rejecting the order of Allah. But if she knew that Allah ordered her, but she still argue about it, that is kufr. Islam is this, that you know that Allah is the Lord, is the one who should be worshipped alone, and you accept His ahkam. That is Islam. If you don't, then you are not. It is now 12:30, so I will have to go, inshallah.
You don't have to, but you can do another 20 minutes because it's at 1:30.
Yeah, but I will have to just to check about the mosque and stuff.
I was going to stop you there anyway, so that time that it would have taken you, you can...
Okay, I will see if there is anything that I will have to answer quickly, and then...
You know, making wudu when you're reading Quran, I've always known that there's difference of opinion.
Yeah.
Can you just sort of explain a bit more about the wudu?
Doing wudu while you are reciting Quran is not an obligation. There is no proof to say it's an obligation. Now, the people rely about doing wudu while you are reciting Quran, rely on this proof from the Quran, Surah Al-Waqi'ah, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. Now, reciting Quran without touching the mushaf, that is a different story. That is, nobody will tell you that you have to have wudu. I mean, the major fuqaha, they don't say that. Not in state of janaba, of course. They say, and they are wrong, that you have to wash yourself. When it comes to touching the Quran mushaf, then they use this ayah, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. في كتاب مكنون لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. In a protected book, that it is not touched except by the clean, the purified ones. Now, this is لا يمسه is a statement, is not an order. A statement. A statement is not an order. A statement in the Quran should be considered to be a statement, not an order, unless there is proof to show otherwise. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَنْ يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ سَبِيلًا. That Allah will not make a way to the disbelievers over the believers. Allah will not make a way for disbelievers on the believers, so they can't harm them, they can't rule them. But when this ayah was revealed, we can see that at that time Muslims were oppressed, were in Mecca, were tortured by the kuffar, and so that is, and Allah said the truth. This is not statement. This is an order. This is an order that we are not supposed to let them rule us or harm other Muslims. So if I have a Muslim who has done something wrong to a kafir and he is sought by the kuffar want him, I have to protect him. If he has done something wrong which is not allowed in our religion, then we have to punish him, not give him up to be punished by them. So that is a statement, but because taking it as a statement, it will be a lie, and Allah say the truth. So, but you don't come to a statement and say this is an order, unless, as I said, unless there is proof for that, such as what I explained. Now, this لا يمسه إلا المطهرون, is there any way to understand it rather than saying it's an order from Allah for us not to touch Quran? Yes, there is a way to understand it, because Allah says in the Quran, في صحف مطهرة, that is in the suhuf, in the books that are clean, بأيدي سفرة, in the hands of ambassadors, كرام بررة, that is the suhuf that are in the hands of the malaika, and that is the book that Allah is referring to. That Quran, it is in the hands of the Malaika, which is protected in the sky. No one can touch it except those who are cleansed, the Malaika, the pure ones. And if someone insists on this, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون, Allah then the Prophet have said in a hadith of Abi Huraira, which is in Bukhari, that إن المؤمن لا ينجس, that the believer is always pure. So there is no clear evidence that you have to have wudu.
So would it be incorrect to even say that it's recommended to be in wudu?
Well, there is a hadith from the Prophet that he came, he went somewhere for his need. Then he came back, a man said Assalamu alaikum. He did not answer until he went to the wall. He did tayammum and then he answered him. And in one narration, in another hadith, he said, I did not like to mention the name of Allah except on state of purification. That other hadith where he said this word, that is weak. The other hadith, the first hadith that I mentioned, is in Bukhari, it is sahih. So really, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا, those who remember the name of Allah while standing, while sitting, while on their sides, lying on their sides. There is a hadith in Bukhari from Ubadah ibn Samit that the Prophet said, whoever wake up at night and then he says لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله, then he asks Allah for forgiveness or make dua, Allah will grant him what he asked for. And if he does wudu and pray, Allah will accept his prayer. So he will say all these in state where this is dhikr. He will say it before he does even wudu, and Allah will give him whatever he asked for. So to say that about dhikr, that you have to remember the name of Allah just in state of purification, is to stop people from doing a lot of good things. So every time you actually try to bring something to help the religion, maybe you are doing something to it will lead to the opposite. So I will have to stop here, inshallah, and another time, inshallah, can continue. There was the questions last week, which there was in the book, but I don't remember them, so inshallah.